You're likely going to fail most of the art goals that you set for yourself this year. Not trying to be harsh, just realistic. 91% of people abandon their New Year's resolution by the end of January. So your goal of I'm going to draw every day, or I'm finally gonna get good at anatomy, statistically dead by the end of this month. But why? Why is committing to a goal so hard? What makes us give up? Well, in this week's episode of YouTube Art School, I'll try to explain why that happens and what are the 3 psychological switches that you need to flip to start making real, actual progress this year. You'll see it's actually nothing big, just a few mind tricks that you gotta start doing. Ones that will have a massive impact. So let's see what they are. So the first change is to stop hoping you'll succeed through willpower alone. Because really, willpower is like one-ply toilet paper. Unreliable when you need it most. Because think about it, it's not your first new year. Like in the past, even when you were super motivated on January 1st, that feeling lasted what, like a week, 2 weeks? And then life happens, you know, you get busy, you get tired, you just kind of forget about it, and that initial excitement that you had just fades, and then suddenly drawing feels more like a chore. Most goals require you to push yourself, you know, like to make room in your schedule, maybe say no to like fun things like playing video games, like watching or binging Netflix or some anime series, whatever. All of that takes willpower, and willpower kind of comes and goes. So what's the solution? You got to build a vision instead, because a simple goal like I want to become good at drawing, that's way too isolated. It has no context really, and it's not compelling enough to pull you through all the really hard days where you're not gonna want to do those things. But a vision, on the other hand, a vision is magnetic. Like here's the difference. Like a goal is I want to draw more. A vision, on the other hand, might be something like I'm going to create a webcomic that my younger self would have really enjoyed, or maybe like my younger siblings. And by the end of this year, I'll have maybe a full chapter done, so like 25 pages done. You feel that difference? In the first case, requires willpower to constantly push yourself to do the things that you should be doing. But the other goal, the vision, instead pulls you along. It's the same feeling really that you have when you start a relationship, that initial excitement that pulls you, that compels you to do a lot of things that are way out of character, perhaps. Or if you're just working towards a promotion at work, you know, suddenly when you see the carrot dangling in front of you, it's a lot more compelling to work to try to get it. The pull is automatic. The push requires constant effort. So for any goal that you set this year, spend real time building a compelling vision around it. Make it vivid. Make it very specific. Write it down and then put it somewhere that you'll always see. And if you can't build a strong vision around your goal, honestly, just drop it. It's clearly not important enough to achieve anyway. And failing at it will just make you feel like crap. All right, here's our second trick. Raise your standards. Your standards are what define you as a person. They define what you're capable of, but they can also limit you hard. And let me explain with an example. Like, let's say you define yourself as a serious artist, someone who's hungry to improve. Then sitting down for an hour or 2 a day to practice should feel relatively normal. It's just what you do. It's non-negotiable, right? Like when you don't do it, you'll feel kind of wrong, like you're not meeting your own standards, and that's not comfortable. But take somebody else now. That same 1 to 2 hours for them might feel like a chore, like torture even. Impossible, like something that would require massive willpower. So it's the same activity really, but people with 2 different standards. Now, for those of you who consider yourselves artists, but still feel like it's a struggle to put in the time, here's probably where you're messing up. There must be something in here that tells you, when you look at a skilled artist, it must be nice to be that good, but I'll never reach that level. It's just too far out of reach. And then you get demotivated, and then practicing starts to feel like a chore. And what's happening here is just your low standards talking, nothing else. Because if somebody with high standards believes something is within reach, working hard towards it feels pretty normal. It's like thinking, oh wow, I really want this, and deep down believing that you can because your standard's high enough. Like it might be hard, of course, it might take years, but if that's how they define themselves, they'll make it happen. They'll find a way. And this is actually a deeply rooted human trait. Like, we'll do almost anything to meet our own standards. Like, think of people that lose their jobs. Usually, they'll find a job that's either as good or better than what they had before, just because they can't possibly handle downgrading their standards of life, their professional standards, and it's just too uncomfortable. And here's the cool part. Your standards can change, and well, they change from within. So you're 100% in charge. And when you raise your standards and then you try to achieve them, eventually achieve them, that's happiness. It just makes us feel good. It's our brain's reward system. And meanwhile, stagnation just feels like misery, like you're wasting your time, like it's not working. Why would you want to keep doing anything that makes you feel like that? So this year, raise your standard. Stop telling yourself you can't reach a certain level. Just start telling yourself you will. And the idea is that the more you tell yourself, the more you'll believe it. Shut down that inner voice that tells you that it's not possible. When you do, your standards will rise, your capabilities will follow. Even more so with the right kind of help. So if you feel ready to learn art seriously this year, or just ready to take your existing skills to the next level, there's no better way than with the right structure and the in-depth classes that come with my art program, Art School for Digital Artists, the sponsor of this video. The big holiday sale for my program might be over, but you'll still be able to pick it up at a significant discount for a little while longer. Check out all the details in the video description so you don't miss out on this, because the discount will further decrease every month moving forward, so you always get a better deal when you sign up early. You get lifetime access, private access to our Discord, and a helpful week-by-week study guide so you always know what you should be working on next. We've been going for over 8 years now, so this year, why not join the 30,000+ students already registered and find out what you've been missing out on? See you in class. And here's the final change. Change your habits. You meet your standards by performing a series of small habits throughout your day. Any single habit, by itself might seem insignificant, but when you add them all up, it's a completely different story. When people are successful, it's not luck, although sometimes it is to a certain extent, but continued success is because everything they do contributes to their standard of success. Like, think about this example. Like, imagine a fit person and an overweight person of exactly the same age, but they have completely different habits. Let's say all of a sudden they were able to swap their habits, like the same meals, the same activities daily. I think it's easy to imagine that their physical condition would start to converge until they become the opposite of what it was before. Like, their physiques wouldn't become exactly like the other person's, but very close. It's the same with artists. If you practice the same things a skilled artist practice in the same order, learning from similar sources, maintaining a similar routine, well, you would get similar results eventually. Maybe better, maybe slightly worse, but you'd be in the same ballpark. Like, my habits now are completely different from 15 years ago. As my standards increased, well, my habits also had to evolve. Nowadays, maybe I'll practice around like 10 to 15 hours a week in total, which is way less than what I used to do, especially when I was working at Blizzard, for example, working 10 to 6 every day. But now I observe constantly, something I didn't really used to do. I can't just see things anymore without breaking them down into their art fundamentals. It's like I have the art goggles on 24/7. And here are some of the more maybe relevant current habits that I have. I'll always plan my work days at least one day ahead, so I'm on a mission as soon as I wake up the next day. Every morning I'll take time cooking myself a healthy breakfast. I'm almost 40, so I gotta put in more work to keep my body in good shape. Every day also I'll either run or work out in the middle of my workday without fail, and that just helps me to reinforce over and over that I can do things that are hard and uncomfortable. Then at most a few times a week, I'll do a little bit of gesture drawing just to keep the rust away. I'll also do quick sketches while I eat, and that usually I'll just toss in the trash because the XP really that I gain from those is what I think is important, not the result, and the result is never that good anyway. Another one I do every week is I'll study something from reference. Often it'll be something that I show on the weekly YouTube videos like this one here that I've been working on in the background. I'll always keep my phone on Do Not Disturb while I work. I also keep mental heavy work capped at like 30 minutes max before I take a break, very similar to the Pomodoro method for studying. I also maintain a consistent sleep schedule every day now. That took me a while to get there, but I feel much better. And I think the most important habit that I have is that I practice active observation everywhere I go. My own habits work for me now, but yeah, your habits should match your goals, of course. Like, find some habits from artists that you admire. very gradually, like don't do this all at once or it won't happen, but gradually adopt those habits. Incremental change, not all at once. That's too hard. So here's your complete system for achieving your goals, your art goals in 2026. Stop relying on willpower, build a compelling vision instead. Raise your standard, stop limiting yourself, and then change your habits. Small actions compound into massive change. The new year is always a good time to reset, but honestly, it's always a good time to make a positive change. Like even if you're watching this in June, but make those 3 changes. I guarantee that when January 1st, 2027 rolls around, you'll look back at today and be shocked by how far you've come. Prove to future you that present you can help them to succeed. And by the way, I was just talking about habits and how to form habits, and I actually have a class that I dedicated to this topic. And I think that would be very relevant to watch next. So it'll be up on screen here in just a second. Click on that and I'll see you over there.